Hey, it's Mikey.
Hi, this is Diamanda Hagan impersonating a monk.
And
wearing the Omega hoodie.
So, D. Omega Hagan.
Yeah.
And
I'm cosplaying as my own wife.
Cool. We're gonna do a commentary on the Starcrash review we filmed at last MagFest.
Yep. It seems so long ago. It was almost like we filmed it, and then it didn't appear for so long.
Yeah, I know. Stuff happened in my life is the best answer I can give for that. Alrighty, so... Play.
With Starcrash, it was worth it. My hair's almost identical.
Yeah.
You're pretty much identical.
Yeah, because I tend to just keep the same look for most of my work if I'm going to appear on camera. It's just it makes filming on different days so much easier with just a big quick basic outfit.
Yeah, makes sense. And I pretty much have the same outfit that I'm wearing here with me. I probably should be in costume, but it makes me seem much lazier than I am. But I literally just came in from lunch, and I didn't want to be wandering around the snow in DC while dressed in full Hagen gear, because people would assume I'm a patch of ice or something with blood streaks or something. This is the most pointless corridor in the fucking world.
Yeah, Why? Just put another door.
The thing is, from how far he's going across, because there's a circle, it's literally, he's gone 180 degrees. He's not gone 90 degrees, that's not a corner, that could have been just a normal, long corridor. I had not seen Starcrash till you requested I watch it for this review, and I can understand the appeal, it's...
So... When I originally proposed this to her, it was all the way back at Project Million.
Yes. And, yeah, we were, it was like one of the nights.
We weren't filming that night, so we just watched this movie for the heck of it.
Yeah, it was just us two, and I was lying down, we were both lying on beds in Florida. And, I was like, okay, this looks amusing, and then suddenly the credits happened, and this inspired the whole review.
Yeah, the entire review is going to be the segment where Marjo Gortner appears.
I'm like, Marjo fucking Gortner! That was a dramatization of what happened in real life. I just kept screaming it for a long time, and then finally you were like, okay, who is... So I gotta impersonate you properly. Who is Marjo fucking Gortner? And I told the story, and it was pretty much verbatim to what's in the review here. Fascinating individual. I just had no idea he was an actor in low-budget 1970s Italian Star Wars rip-offs. The more you know.
Now, the upcoming on-camera segment, which this part, I'd written my set part in. You just improvised your set part in. It wasn't part of the original script, but it worked enough for the scene that I decided to keep it in.
Yeah, I tend to ad-lib when I do on camera. Less so in voiceover. I know it sounds really pretentious, but if I'm playing Hagen, I just sort of get into a mindset, which I find harder to get into when I'm writing, or when I'm rewriting someone else's stuff. But when I'm sitting there being in character, I can sort of just come up with stuff that fits the character easier than when I'm sitting in like a dingy basement with a laptop going, oh, here's Mikey's script. I can't think of something Hagen would say, so that's okay. And then years later, I came up with something much better. I'm even worse when I'm Alistair. I'm constantly ad-libbing in that. I very rarely have a full script.
Depending on reviews, I tend to just stick with the script. I'm not much for ad-libbing for those. When I do other kind of stuff, like short sketch videos, that stuff I can either ad-lib or I'll tend to do some more improvisation for that.
I remember you did quite a lot of ad-libbing in Project Million when you were like lying on that. You're like, the script says that he has to lie in the hammock and then swing to the left a little lightly, but then sometimes you would throw a curveball by swinging quite loud, and it was amazing. It was the master. Hello, Christopher Plummer. You have ridiculous hair.
This part is actually something that you did send a voiceover for as an improv, actually.
Did I?
Yeah, I remember it was just supposed to end at, I don't even know why you're in this movie, and then you told me in the voiceover just to add in, unless it was money or some other thing, or money. And I liked it, so I kept it in for that as well.
Oh, that's cool. It's, sorry, my memory's a bit shot for this. We literally filmed the camera last MagFest, and then we filmed the voiceover probably a few weeks later, and then
I had stuff come up in my life, so I couldn't start editing the video for months.
Yeah, the final episode.
The video finally came out like 9 months after we filmed it.
Yeah, so I was completely blank about what we were gonna do, because it's for anyone who doesn't make these videos, if you're doing a crossover and you're not the one doing the writing and the editing, it is really easy to forget what exactly happened in the crossover, because, you know, it's like an acting job, really. But that's why I like the Flubs videos. They show the behind the scenes, and then if someone's acting in them, they can look back and see what happened to sort of jog some memories. But there's my old glasses, which they got destroyed at Ottawa Comic Con. Actually, I did this little skit video for Project Million when I was helping them cover Ottawa Comic Con, and I decided it'd be hilarious for Hagan to face down against an Inquisitor from Warhammer 40,000. Unfortunately, you know, the idea was I would, you know, glare at him and he'd stab me or something, and then unfortunately those glasses ended up on the ground, and then doubly unfortunately my boots ended up on top of those glasses and they exploded. So the classic Hagan glasses are gone. No, not the mind probe!
That's one of her jokes that she sent me for this.
5 doctors. It's a brilliantly terrible delivery of an awful line.
Your last shot. Well, maybe you shouldn't have wasted on fucking disintegrating people. Sons would have been fine.
Well, I gesticulate with my head.
Well, he failed.
I don't do that in real life.
Alright.
How does that work? She wasn't looking at the actual thing, she was looking at a screen, and then suddenly it's like...
Mind powers to the thing wherever it is.
But it's a screen, it's not the actual
I
thing.
know.
It could be like behind her, how did it...
That on-camera segment, I remember this. Originally, both of our lines were going to be on camera for that part, but when I was editing it, I found it worked better to have her be voiceover and mine be the one on camera.
Yeah, that happens quite a lot in co-reviews and general reviews. When you film something as to camera, then it works better in voiceover. And usually I will, if it's my own stuff and it's a crossover or my own review, I will re-record it as a voiceover to keep consistency. But if I'm doing it as a crossover with someone else, I generally don't like to bother people once they've done their stuff. So I will use the to-camera stuff instead of getting them to re-record the voiceover line.
Well, since for my voiceovers, I also I temporarily just voice right onto this camera, and then I just cut the video segment for later.
Oh, okay.
So
it sounds the same.
Yeah. So with your thing, it does still sound similar to a lot of the actual audio for this anyway, so it works well enough.
There'll be a slight difference, I imagine, because you're filming in a different room.
Yeah.
That's kind
But
of fun.
yeah, it does sound similar enough that it's a little less noticeable.
Marjo fucking Gortner! Yeah, can't see the future now, can you, motherfucker?
Theoretically, if he can see the whole future, he saw that, knew it was going to happen, didn't bother to stop it anyway.
Because he can't change the future.
Because it's against the law.
So, and he's a criminal. Really, he should be like Dr. Manhattan, be like, you know, I'm a puppet who can see the strings, and, you know, he's trapped by causality and everything, but it's not a case, but this one it's just like, yeah, I know what's going to happen, I can't stop it because of the law, even though I'm a criminal, I don't know whose law I'm breaking, how can you write laws, official laws about this sort of shit? People could have done this shit before the law was written, it makes no sense, unless there's some sort of god figure who's in charge or something, and they don't want to piss off. Which would be deeply ironic, considering he's Marjo fucking Gortner.
Now, this is another one of those moments that I can tell the audio is different because I filmed all of the audio at one time for my segment, but there was one line that just didn't work with what the deliveries I had given, so I had to re-record it at an even later date. And by that point, I was staying at a different place, so that's why that line sounds different from me compared to the rest of my audio for this.
Oh, I hate it when that happens. Sometimes you can put the same audio equipment in the same place and stand and sit in the same place and have it sound so completely different. It's really a weird thing. Especially if you don't have like really high-end equipment that can fix all that. Which, you know, as you can tell from my audio, I don't have. Oh no, balls of death! Ah.
Yeah, the freakish lava lamp of doom.
Ironically, some of these space shots look a little bit like pictures we've seen of Nebula since. You know, it's like space. Some shots of space are ridiculously garish. Not enough cavemen, though.
I remember this part. For each time you did the stupid line, you either... The first one you pointed directly at me, then I think the second one you just started yelling across the place where something's dead.
I like to give as many different variations on takes as I can. Especially for my own editing, because I never know quite what I want from it until I'm editing. So if I have variety, then it's really useful.
Hello, Hasselhoff. One of the few jokes I knew when I was starting to write this was just tossing the SpongeBob line from Gordy on David Hasselhoff.
So honestly, I've never seen SpongeBob SquarePants. I was slightly too old for it, and so therefore I viewed it as just a kids' show. I'm told that it's more adult and clever than I expected, but did they have a David Hasselhoff fixation?
He cameos in the movie they made of it.
Ah, okay.
As himself.
Good. Oh wow, they're walking through Nightmare.
Yes, this was another part. The ooh nasty thing she told me to dub in from Nightmare.
It's not just that. The actual location looks like one of the sets from Nightmare, the drawn set they would use in a blue screen thing.
This was just something I came up with in editing because I was trying to figure out to show them that they walked all the way down there. But saying it sounded dumb. So just because I had Imogen Heap on hand from a previous joke in the video, I just tossed it in again for a different segment.
Yeah, it worked fine. I just noticed the pass sort of thing, the things on our wrists in the video. They're using the exact same color this year. It's the exact same shade of green.
Yeah, this just to show that we're both over 21.
Yes. Okay, there are times when the character of Hagan could really be turned into a drag character. On occasion.
The That's Right subtitle, that was an idea she came up with while we were filming it, just as she was doing all that crazy laugh thing. I guess it'd be funny if you just tossed That's Right into it at the end. So I was like, okay, I'll put that in there as well.
See over there, well, this guy is clearly Raul Julia from Street Fighter, or possibly Henry Silva from Alan Quarterman in The Lost City of Gold. And then some scenes are it's like they're having an unspoken combat between who has the bouffantiest hair between Hasselhoff and Marjo Gortner. Gortner always wins because his hair is just amazing, but Hasselhoff does not forget the defeat, and so with years and years and years he tried to get his hair bouffantier and bouffantier until he's like some sort of brown hair John Pertwee in Knight Rider.
He dies, though I think the only injury he did actually suffer from him was to the arm.
And there's stripes, all of the stripes, and space armor. I'm sorry, it's been about 18 months since I've seen Starcrash, and I didn't quite fall in love with it when I first saw it, so I'm a little bit confused.
At this point, Emperor Plumber has stopped time to stop a planet from being blown up.
Oh yeah, so how is all the molecules and all happening when they're moving and everything? How can they breathe? And this makes no sense. And then like vacuum of space doesn't exist because of their space torpedoes and stuff. And
yeah, they fire torpedoes into their ship, and somehow it goes right through the glass, and it doesn't do anything to it.
It's the sort of thing that would have been too silly to do in real life, like on sea ships. Because, you know, the guys inside the torpedoes, apart from the fact that there's all the air escaping, at least there should be, they're going to be really fucked up inside it because it's going to go really fast to get through the other ship. So those guys are going to have to like have a major piece of roll cage or something, so the ship would have to be really big. It's just really impractical. Maybe if they had a really big sort of ship like that could sort of dock onto the side of the ship, like sort of jam in there, and then they could cut their way in or something. But not like a torpedo that bashes through and then it suddenly opens up and they're springing into action. That's just silly. Why didn't they just send robots? They could have had like those torpedoes, and then they transform into multiple robots that were joined together. That would have been much more sensible.
So, bunch of mini L's, that's the robot guy.
Yeah,
Let's
connect
have him combine to giant big...
into a torpedo, yeah, and then they can spread out, and then, you know, and then because they're heavier, because they're robots, they'll be less likely to like get or these magnetic somethings, so they don't get sucked out. Everyone else does. See, put me in charge of Starcrash too. This time it's going to be even more brightly colored.
The Don't Call Me Sherman, I originally said that as voiceover, but then again, as I was editing, it didn't work as well as I wanted to. So instead I did a parody of the blind date things where they just have random thought bubbles pop in people's heads.
Okay. I've never seen the American Blind Date. I don't recall that from the British Blind Date, but I will believe you.
Yeah, it was a thing they do in the American version where they'd have people start random thought bubbles during the date without... It wouldn't probably be what they were actually thinking, but they'd have them say random things in their heads as what would they really be thinking.
This is the adventures of the Starship Synesthesia. Its ongoing mission to connect random colors with random things that make no sense. To boldly go in a very chromatic way that no one has ever gone before. Garishly.
Alright, and now... So, they won.
Boom! This is a deeply silly film. If you haven't seen this film, guys, do, because it's fucking ridiculous.
It's very ridiculous, and I did like it in its ridiculousness. I don't recall you liking it as much.
Not as much, no. Honestly, it was... I've seen other Italian, like, science fiction knockoffs of Star Wars, and it's not one of my favorite ones. I think I connect it with saying it's more like Princess Warrior than Lou Ferrigno's Hercules.
Yeah,
and
you did say that in the voiceover thing.
Lou Ferrigno's Hercules is amazing, and eventually I'll get to reviewing it, but yeah.
Alrighty. Now, I bought that curved space book for this video. I actually still, to this day, haven't read it. So, I actually don't know if it's good or bad or not.
Is it a graphic novel or a book?
It's a regular book. I believe it's like a novelized fan fiction or something.
Wow.
At least that's what I've heard. I believe actually on the DVD for the DVD that we use for this Starcrash review, there is like a mini bonus feature that includes like a couple of things from it. There's like some extra, like there were some drawings put into it, but it's mostly writing.
Okay. And when you left there before you came back, I don't know, it looked like I licked the back of my hand. I'm pretty sure I didn't, but it looked like it. Remember what I did there? I was like, either did like a...
I think you were telling me to just like go away.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, fuck off. Oh, that was by Vega.
Yes, Vega did the title card for this.
Vega's great. She's yeah, hung out with her yesterday.
She was, at the time, she just said, "Hi, I'm taking commissions. Does anybody have anything?" She was like, "I actually have this thing that you could draw for me as a title card." It's like, cool. So I gave her the idea of what I wanted to see for it, and this is the image she sent back, and it's a great image, so thank you, Vega.
Yeah, she's going to, she's been accepted into like an art university in Chicago. She's a really good artist. Check out her stuff. And she also has a show, Vega Loves Comics.
Yes, Vega Loves Comics.
Does it. She's good.
You can see that on Blip, so check that out too. Alright, so that's our Starcrash review from last MagFest. Thanks for listening to us commentate on it.
Wait till next MagFest when we do a commentary for the commentary.
See you then.